She was an immigrant worker from East Africa who moved here in the late 60s. Ended up working at Grumwicks at the photographic processing plant in North London, and in response to appalling treatment by management and the people that ran the business, she stood up for her own rights, and for the rights of all her co-workers. Started a dispute, a strike that lasted 2 years, and it made the headlines. It became a kind of a massive watershed moment in terms of where trade unions were, how trade unions were being run, about how there was changes afoot in terms of how businesses were developing. So, and it became the kind of focus for all of those sort of changes, and that's why it became an important story, and why Jaibinder Desai became such an important person who was involved and led this dispute.
And how do you summarise all of that in a play for Townsend to go on the road with?
Well, with great difficulty. It's a very complicated story. We only use 2 actors in the company, so it's always a challenge. But it's great, really, because what you do is you find theatrical solutions. There are thousands and thousands of people on the streets of Willesden. How do we do that with 2 actors? And there's all those, and then there's all the people involved. There's all the characters. There's the actual strike leaders themselves. There's the managers of the company. There's also the police involvement. There were 5,000 police on the streets, controlling the pickets, apparently. And then you've got lots of characters involved who were obviously very prominent at the time. You got the Labour government at the time, led by Callaghan, and Merlin Rees was the Home Secretary. You've got Arthur Scargill and the NUM in Yorkshire, and supporting the immigrant workers in their dispute with Grumwicks. So it's a massive event, a massive subject to kind of bring down and hone down into sort of 2 hours a play for 2 actors, but it's got songs as well, so it's a multifaceted production. But it's, like I say, it's a big story for 2 actors, but somehow we pull it off.